Sing, barren woman, you who never bore a child. Burst into song, shout for joy. Enlarge the place of your tent. Stretch your tent curtains wide. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords. Strengthen your stakes.
I was 16 when I met my husband. I remember when we started to get serious in our relationship, I knew I had to tell him my plans. I was confident that I wanted 5 to 6 children, but my husband's Asian, so he comes from an Asian background where they have 1 child. So when I told him my plan is I'm going to be having probably 5 to 6 kids, are you okay with that if we get married? He wasn't too excited, but he said, that's fine, we'll talk about it later. I was 21 when I got married to Gonzo, and life was beautiful. We had a great marriage, and things were going great. My friends started getting pregnant. My siblings at this time had a couple of children, and they were still having more children, getting pregnant. And with each year that passed, me and Gonzo weren't able to get pregnant. So we talked about what we would do if we weren't able to get pregnant. And for me, fertility options were not an option. I really wanted God to open my womb because I had told him at a very young age what I wanted and my plans. And I expected that if I served him, he would fulfill my desires. But with every friend and every sibling that kept coming to me with an announcement of being pregnant, with an announcement of their baby being born, it was just a pain that would strict my heart. And I didn't know at the time, but I definitely was starting to get bitter at God and frustrated about these expectations that were not being met by him. So the years go on, and me and my husband decided to start looking into fertility treatment. And with every test that came back, it came back that me and my husband both were completely healthy. There was no issues. We should be able to have a baby. And so we started doing fertility treatment. And with every treatment, it came back that we still were not able to conceive. So none of the treatments were successful. And so then we started looking into adoption. But at the time, we had no savings and we didn't have enough money to put towards adoption. So our next idea was fostering. Around the same time that we had completed our foster care course but decided to not pursue being a foster parent, my sister had now been a single parent to 3 children for some time, and she had just met a man that was a godly man, and they decided they wanted to get married and start their own family. But soon everything started to unravel really quick. Every time we would go over to their house, there was more and more strange occurrences. Beds would be missing suddenly, blankets would be missing, the kids wouldn't have clothes, nobody would have been fed all day, there was no food in the house. And one day I got a call at work, and my sister was crying so hard, I couldn't understand what she was saying. And finally, I was able to make out that she said she had tried certain drugs that led to her being addicted to them. And now everything started to make sense. Time went on, and it just got worse. My sister got pregnant with her 5th child, and she gave birth to a drug-addicted baby. We, at that point, were contacted by CPS, and they reached out to us knowing that we were already certified from 2 years prior, and they said, seeing you're certified, would you be willing to take in your sister's 5 kids? And without, batting our eyes, we were ready. We said, yes, we'll take them. They were dropped off with a big black garbage bag full of their stuff, and we became instant parents. I became a mom to these children when they looked at me not as a mother. There was a lot of anger, there was a lot of bitterness. It was very hopeless. It was hopeless to see my sister in that condition. It was hopeless to be a mother when I didn't want to be a mother to someone else's children. I wanted my own children. My sister had given birth now to her 6th child, who was also addicted to drugs. And so she contacted us and she said, I'm ready to sign over the rights to my 5 children. I'm going to keep my youngest, and the 5 children, I cannot take care of 6 children. So we went to court and I sat next to her and we held hands, and she did the unthinkable and the most painful thing that I think anybody could ever do, and sign a paper that says, I no longer am your mother, and I am signing over all rights to this woman. The next morning, we had her come over for breakfast, and we all ate breakfast at my mom's house. All of her 6 children were there. That same evening, we got a call from the hospital saying that my sister had called an ambulance on herself, but coded in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. So the same evening that she said, I'm sorry, to her children and hugged them and kissed them, was the day that God took her home. After my sister died, we adopted Colin as well, which is our youngest son. So now we have 6 of her children. These children were ours now. Officially, they were ours. And I stood there thinking back to Isaiah 54, where God said, O sing, O barren, stretch forth your tent, strengthen the stakes of your tent, because he was going to fill it, and it was going to be bursting at the seams. And we looked at our house, and we could no longer fit in our house, and we could no longer fit in our car. And it's not what I wanted. It's not the way I wanted to become a mother. When I viewed becoming a mother, I thought it was going to be full of sweet memories and a very tender story. But now sometimes this story can sound very dark, but I look at it and I see all throughout the way God was there, and he was saying, I heard you. I had put it in your heart as a kid to be a mom. I had put it in your heart to care for these children since they were young. I've been confused that this life, I thought it was mine. I thought it was moldable by me. I thought that if I perform a certain way, he will perform a certain way. For those people who aren't seeing expectations met in their life, I would say the greatest joy that I've experienced in my whole life was seeing God work, do things that are unexpected. The pleasure of walking with Jesus is better than any expectation that we have. The ability to see who Jesus is and his tender mercies and his attention to detail and how he reveals what has happened already is miraculous. All the little pieces that God puts together fit together perfectly, better than what we could plan.